So we probably have identified a common thread here between Paul's conversion, described in Acts, and Jesus' third appearance to the disciples at the shore. And maybe the common thread for you is the common thread that I found, which is a call to service, a call to feed and to be fed. Did that come through for you? And as I discussed with all of you, Paul was probably not feeling the most worthy of that call. And certainly people around him did not feel that he was worthy the call that God had for him and the mission he had ahead of him. Still he answered. He answered the call. He went out serving, and in serving, he was also fed. So ultimately, Paul accepted the call. Now Peter, Paul just read for us, had just denied Jesus 3 times. Could not be by the cross when Jesus was being crucified. Still, God kept calling on him to be a disciple. And Jesus forgave him. And maybe a lot of you caught the repetition there. Jesus asking him 3 times, "Do you love me?" And him answering, "Yes." And getting a little bit annoyed. Right? "Why are you asking me? Yes, I love you." Well, you just denied me 3 times. And you were not there when I was being crucified. So don't feel so insulted, Peter, that I'm asking you 3 times if you do love me or not. Right? Still, God called him. Jesus forgave him, and he accepted the call to become the rock of the church, the planter of many Christian congregations. Just like Paul. So ultimately, Paul and Peter's faith in Jesus was not just about their personal salvation, but it was discovering a sense of purpose for their lives and a commitment to the well-being of others, not just their own, but service. And as their lives were impacted by the life of Christ, and they committed to following the way of Jesus, as they were spiritually and physically fed, they set out with a burning heart for serving God. And by feeding God's children spiritually and physically, and in serving and feeding, they continue to be fed. Like Peter, we might have failed Jesus once in a while, or maybe 3 times. We might have failed our families, our loved ones, and we might even have failed ourselves. And we may want to stop trying to do better. I can only imagine how Peter must have felt, how embarrassing it must have been. I suspect one would want to forget about it and just go about one's regular life and not listen to that ghostly figure by the shore calling him for breakfast, to be fed, and asking him if he loved Jesus or not. Like Paul, we might have persecuted God's people. And we might have come to Jesus a couple of times. You know, the come to Jesus moments, right? That we might want to forget as well. just go back to our normal lives. Do, the things that we have to do. Get up in the morning, go to work, and then come home, watch TV. That's it. Right? It's a lot already, right? But when we are asked to risk our, reputation at work, when we are asked to go out there in the wilderness, risking our necks for the proclamation of the good news, that's tough, right? That's embarrassing, to say the least. Talking about Jesus and God, especially nowadays. I mean, we Christians have done a pretty good job in smearing Christianity, right? As well, in the name of Christ, so much bad has been done that to go out there and say, I'm a Christian, it takes courage, right? It's not very well looked upon. So like them, like Paul and Peter, we may see others who we think are more faithful, right? There were other apostles that didn't deny Jesus, and they were with Jesus by the foot of the cross. Still, Peter had to recognize that he must have had some kind of worth, right? And we may think that other people are more equipped spiritually, intellectually, and financially to do what God is calling us to do. And we may wonder why God doesn't just call them. They are very well equipped. They have time to read the scriptures. I don't, right? They have time to take time off and go to Nicaragua, right? They have time to go to Vermont with the youth. I don't. So please, call them. Don't call me. But like Peter and Paul, God does not let us off the hook and calls us anyway, so that God's grace and glory may be seen in and through us. Like Peter and like Paul, God's love and strength may touch others through us as the vessel, us as the vehicle, us as the rock. But let us remember that when we hear and answer God's call, we are equipped, and we are fed, and we are empowered to feed others. God doesn't just call us and leave us to our own devices. The calling comes with the help desk, right? You're not alone. And it comes with a team. You're bound to find somebody that will go with you to Nicaragua, that will go with you to Vermont, that will feed the children, that will go and do the visitation to the people that cannot come to church, that will feed, that will make the biscuits, right? You're not left alone. Our faith needs to be more than just about our personal salvation. It needs to be about a sense of purpose and a commitment to the well-being of others. As our lives are impacted by the life of Christ, we commit to following the way of Jesus. And as we are spiritually and physically fed, we are charged to go out with burning hearts for the service of God. Not half-hearted, but burning hearts for the service of God, for the feeding of God's children, for the spiritual and literal care of one another. And in serving and feeding, we are continually fed. That's what I constantly hear from you all that have been serving. That in the serving, you become fed. In teaching, you end up learning. In giving, you end up receiving much more. So the question this morning is, what specific calling has God given you and our church community? Because if God has a call for you, we are in this together. We'll support you. So what is it? I can tell you. I go around and I ask people to do this and to do that. And I wonder if they feel called to serve in this committee or in that committee. But it's important that you discern. Because you have many gifts, you have many talents. And oftentimes, you will be able to do what I ask you to do and beg you to do. But it's not about that. Because that may not be as fulfilling and as nourishing as it would be when you, and is, when you are answering the call that God has for you. So I'm also very happy when I call you and I ask you, would you be interested in doing this or that? And I love when I hear, no, that's not. I don't like hearing no, I really don't. But this is an exception. Because it often comes with, it is not how I feel God is calling me to serve. And this will not really fit my spiritual life right now. So it is perfect. And it's okay for you to say no when I call you. But please be mindful when God calls you, because God is going to continue calling you. You may deny 3 times. You may persecute others who answer the call. But God is going to continue calling you. Our youth group is honoring God's call on their lives with service. They are going to a mission trip this summer. They have been serving. They clean up Unity House. They rake the whole thing. They are working at Brian Collins' house, right? They're cleaning up their garden to raise money, not to splurge and go to Six Flags for just having fun, but to go, that would be fun too, right? We're going to go to the ballpark, but to go and serve. They are answering their call. Many of our adults are involved with Christian education. We are gathering and preparing for a wonderful vacation Bible school. And we're doing that not just to serve our kids here and around, but we are partnering with the churches, the church in Wallingford and Yalesville, and together we are serving. We're answering that call. And for the fall, we are planning a new curriculum, Godly Play. So we will have very, very nourishing education to provide our children. And build, and they will come. Offer, and they will come. Our Nicaragua team is working very diligently also to serve our brothers and sisters in Nicaragua. The UMW works very hard throughout the whole year, raising funds to help children, to help many mission work, and to provide support for one another. It is hard to be a mother. It is hard to be a caregiver. It is hard to be a professional woman out there. So they are working very hard. They are answering the call that God has for their lives. And our church has been feeding our community in many ways. Chicken biscuit, right? Strawberry Festival, the corned beef. Those are wonderful opportunities for folks that won't step a foot in a church on a Sunday morning, but feel a little more comfortable in coming and gathering and being literally fed and spiritually fed, emotionally fed in community, having a meal with folks. There are many ways one can serve, one can feed and be fed. And this morning, we have a what do you call this thing? Clipboard. We have a clipboard and a couple makeshift clipboards I'm going to pass around. So you get a chance, and this will pass around, and circle it around. Pass over here, and this one can go over this way. So there are 3 opportunities there. We want the red one. Don't worry, it will come around. The doors are locked, nobody leaves until they see those 3 binders. So there are three opportunities there you will see. One is feeding children everywhere. So the clergy in Meriden had been disbanded for quite some time, and we are coming together once again and joining forces. And a project we have for June 9th is to prepare 60,000 meals to feed the children locally. Hunger is a problem, and it's a problem right here also. Around us, across the street, and maybe even within our own families. So we are coming together, we're preparing 60,000 meals. We need volunteers, and we need money. Whatever calling God has for you, please answer. There's another opportunity there to volunteer with Vacation Bible School. We'll have Vacation Bible School from July 29th to August 9th. So it's 2 weeks. The first week, we will have the morning session here, the evening session at Yalesville. And the second week, we will have the evening session at First and Wallingford. And it's not just for the children. We are welcoming the parents too. To have a meal with us, to begin the evening, and to have an opportunity to gather together. So it's a major outreach and recognizing the need for families to have time together and spend time together. So as these binders go around, if you feel called to put your name down, please put your name down. If you don't, pass it. Say no, it's all right. Knowing that it's not always about money. It's about time. It's about skills and other gifts that God has given you. We also have another binder going around. So we have the VBS, we have Feed the Children, and Sing Along. Oh, no, in the front, what does it say? I'm spacing. Harvest Now, okay, that's another one. Some of you are gardeners already. Some of you raise, some fresh food. So Harvest Now is an organization interested in providing fresh food for food banks. Oftentimes, food banks are only packed, or the only kind of food they have is prepackaged food and canned food. So if you have a garden in your home and you already raise some food, we're asking for donation of fresh food. And maybe next year, or if we get enough volunteers, even this year, we'll have a fresh food pantry. So there are many opportunities for service. There are many ways you can answer the calling that God has for you. If we don't have in this church a ministry that would use your skills and your gifts, talk to me. We'll start it. We'll get it going. Whatever it may be, we'll figure out a way for you to honor God's call for you. Whatever it may be. And if you're interested in serving in the larger church, we have district conference happening on the 28th. If you're interested in serving the larger church, the larger United Methodist Church, please talk to me. There are ways you can do that too. Yes? So Vacation Bible School to volunteer to help the children during the summer, July 29th through August 9th. Harvest Now, if you're already a gardener and you have fresh food that you grow, to donate some of that, and if you're interested in participating some. And if you don't have a garden, but you'd like to be part of this team and this effort, you can help in other ways and solicit other people to do it. And the Feeding the Children. Yes, happening on June 9th. Yes. So there are many ways to help. There are many ways you can serve. For many years I went to church, I didn't have a dime to put in the collection box. But I volunteer my time. Yes? No, the food for feeding the children, the 60,000 meals we're making to distribute in Meriden, you cannot donate food to that because the food, it's designed in a particular way so the food will last a little bit long, and the Feeding the Children organization provides the food. We give them the money, they provide the food because the food is designed, it's a complete meal for one adult.
And when's the cash donation due by?
I will have a clergy meeting in a few weeks. So put your name down. I will contact you and let you know by when is the time to make donations for feeding the children. Okay?